A 1,600-year-old, absolutely stunning archaeological discovery has been unveiled in southern Israel. To discuss, let's bring in the one and only Danny the Digger Herman. So, Danny, what can you tell us about this find?
Hey, Raj. Yeah, this is a great discovery, but I must clarify it's not a new discovery. It was made in the 1990s, but for lack of funds, it was covered up. I remember when it was published, but it wasn't left to be shown to the public till recently. They now raised the funds and cleared it again and fixed it, and it's all accessible and available. It's a beautiful mosaic floor that has a depiction of like 55 medallions or frames, each one depicting a different subject. Most of it is animals, but also humans and peacocks and lions. And it's just a very charming mosaic floor that is another testimony for something that we tend to forget. And that is that once upon a time, all of the Holy Land, including the desert Negev, was Christian. Okay? Christianity started as a Jewish movement. It spread as an underground movement through Roman times. And in the 4th century, Constantine, the emperor, for his own reasons, decides to allow it, to legalize it. And from that time and up to the Muslim conquest of the Holy Land and of the Middle East, all of the ancient Near East was Christian. Egypt was Christian, Syria was Christian, the Holy Land, of course, Lebanon, Iraq. And in Israel alone, we now count over 350 ancient churches that were found. Okay, to show you the scale, there were also Jews living here, but we have about 130 synagogues. Christianity was the ruling religion, and it's found even big time in the desert. There were several towns and villages and cities like Chalutza, Sobota, Nitzana, Ovdat. They were all Nabatean trade routes stations turned into Roman cities and then turned into Christian cities. Sometimes they even had more than one church at each location. Now, this mosaic floor was, again, uncovered over 30 years ago, but I'm really happy to hear that they brought the funds and exposed it again, and now it's properly treated and it's going to stay on the surface and available for anyone.
I think that's an absolutely fascinating point, because I think a lot of people think of the Middle East, Egypt, Syria, Iraq, Lebanon, they just think Muslim. They think Arab-speaking folks. I mean, the great Arab nation. But before that, this was, as you pointed out, Christian, from Egypt to Syria. I mean, these were Christian lands under the Byzantine Empire. So I think, Danny, maybe quickly, can you help, if someone here isn't history nerds like you and I are, what is the Byzantine Empire? What does that time period represent for the Holy Land?
So in the early 4th century, as I said before, the emperor was Constantine, and he was facing a critical battle over his own kingship over the Roman Empire. And according to the story or the legend, I don't know, how reliable is that story, the night before, he had a vision that if he will put the signs of the cross or the sign of Christ on the shields of his soldiers, he will win. And he does so, and he wins. And he sees that as divine intervention for the validity of Christian faith. I think behind the scenes, you should give also credit to his mother, Helena Augusta, the empress, who was a devout believer. And this event leads him to legitimize Christian faith. But besides the great religious reform, he does also a very important administrative reform. He creates a new capital to the Roman Empire. That empire that had one capital shall now have two. And the second one I shall name, says Constantine, after myself, Constantinopolis, which was over the city that was known as Byzantium before. So the East, in the late Roman period, which is Christian by faith, is called the Byzantine period. And it's actually a pretty long period. of tolerance to other religions because it's Christian, so it's not as harsh, not as brutal to other religions, and it's not as cruel to the populations in the provinces as in the earlier Roman pagan period. And the result is quite a lot of prosperity through the Eastern Roman Empire. And for one thing, Greek, which was the spoken language since the days of Alexander the Great, is the main spoken language also in the Holy Land, also in Egypt. But in northern Israel and up to Syria, some people kept speaking Aramaic, the language of Jesus. And it's actually a bulk of 300 years of quiet, of tolerance, of prosperity, and a lot of Christianity.
Well, Danny, you are an absolute wealth of information. I can make the argument that you are maybe the most well-known tour guide, well, one of the most well-known tour guides in the Holy Land, if not other places. You are able to take nerdy archaeological scientific things and put it into very plain English. You are just a gem, Danny. But let me ask you this one last question. Obviously, since October 7th, tourism has not been flourishing, to say the least. But I know that maybe your main gig is guiding people through Israel, which is amazing if you have Danny the Digger Herman as your tour guide. What has tourism been like recently? Is it starting to pick up at all? Is there any hope that we might see a quote unquote return to normalcy for your profession?
Well, actually, this evening is a very significant evening. They're talking on the news about a possible ceasefire. Now, it's not ending the war, but any ceasefire is good for business. And in previous ceasefires, we did see a clear escalation, not escalation, a clear increase of tourism into the Holy Land. And we are seeing that also in the sense that flights are being resumed. Even before the ceasefire was officially declared, Delta just resumed its flights. United Airlines is going to resume its flights soon. I'm actually fully booked for September already. I don't know why, but I had quite a few big orders for September. So, no, it's not the big party we had before October 7th, but I'm optimistic and I have a feeling things will get better. So, yes, those people that are planning to come to the Holy Land, I'd love to be at your service, but please call me now to make sure of my availability. And I also have a great team of tour guides that work for me, so I'll be sure to provide a great tour experience with my team.
Danny the Digger Herman, God bless my friend. Toda Bachi.
Thank you, Raj. Thank you, and God bless you. Litot from Israel.